Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We got a lot of news to get into. NBA free agency has started, so a lot of movement has been going around there. Obviously, MLB season's heating up, and some NFL stuff has happened as well. So, looking forward to get into it. And we're going to start out this episode like how we start out every episode, and that is with our hot take of the week. So, Mason, I'll let you go ahead and begin with that.
My hot take is news that broke. I think it was about 10 minutes ago, and that's Miles Turner is now on the Bucks. Um, I think that this move will keep Giannis on the team for now, at least. I think he'll pair pretty well with him. Giannis is pretty good at almost everything. Really, just getting in the paint and doing what he does there. Miles Turner is great at shooting, so for them to kind of get two different versatile bigs, I think that'll help them out a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a very shocking signing. I think everyone was expecting Miles Turner to stay with the Pacers. Um, the Bucks lost Brook Lopez last night, and that was like
Mhm.
one of Giannis's guys. Like he really enjoyed playing with Brook Lopez, so everyone was like, "Oh, this might be the last straw for Giannis. Giannis might ask out now." So what did the Bucks do? They responded by basically signing a younger version of Brook Lopez. I mean, Miles Turner is a very similar play style. He's a shot blocker who can shoot the three, very tall, can rebound. I think this is a great move by the Bucks because like fans were speculated, I think Giannis was starting to become impatient and getting a little worried here. And this signing could really help them out. So I like this move for them, and it'll be interesting to see if the Bucks do anything else or if that was kind of their big swing for this offseason. And now what's really interesting will be seeing what the Pacers do because now they don't
Mhm.
have Tyrese Halliburton. They just lost Miles Turner. Are they going to be selling anyone else off for this year, like kind of like what we see the Celtics doing right now? Only
Yeah.
time will tell, so that'll be interesting to see. Oh wow!
Yeah, I just saw that. I was gonna wait for NFL, but
Wait, I just got NBA news actually. Did you
okay.
get
All right.
NFL?
Yeah, I got NFL, and I'll say it during the NFL part, but you go for NBA because I did not see it.
Oh, okay. This isn't as big as I thought it was, but it is. The Milwaukee Bucks are waiving Damian Lillard and stretching the remaining 113 million to be able to acquire Miles Turner. That's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
that's interesting. I guess they
Um,
want to win now. I mean, I
I
don't
wonder
know.
what that means for Damian Lillard's future. That is very,
I
very
wonder if
interesting.
he's
Just got that, so I don't really
considering
know what to
retiring.
say, but yeah. What was the news you got? Because we can just might as well break the
Do
news
you want me
down,
to
have a
say
breaking
it? Do you
news
want me to
segment.
say it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't think you're gonna like it because it's both of our teams that are trading.
Oh wow, really?
So, the Dolphins are trading a conditional 2026 sixth into the New York Giants for 2027 and Darren Waller. So Darren Waller is coming out of retirement to be on the Miami Dolphins.
Are you serious?
Yep, worth
Are you
5
serious?
million according to Drew Rosenhaus.
Wow. That's probably
It's a 1-year
one of
deal.
the last people I expected for the Dolphins to get at the tight end position. We'll get into that when we get to the NFL segment because we will be talking
Yeah,
about how the Dolphins
yeah.
needed a tight end. But wow, that is very interesting. Okay, wow. So two back-to-back breaking news things that have just happened. So bear with us there. And I'm gonna go into my hot take now. My hot take is that I think the Atlanta Hawks will be the sleeper team in the Eastern Conference this season, upcoming season. They traded for Kristaps Porzingis. They've signed Nikhil Alexander Walker, who is one of the most sought after free agents. And let's not forget, they're getting Jalen Johnson back this season from injury, and he was having an all-star year before going down with an injury. And then you got Dyson Daniels, who's only going to improve. And then obviously you got Trae Young. So I really like this team going into this season. And with as weak as the Eastern Conference is, I could see them making some noise. I'm not saying they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed, but I can definitely see them, moving out of the play-in and into the playoffs. And who knows what can happen from there.
Hmm.
All right, so now we're
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and slide into our underdog of the week, and I'll let you go ahead with that one.
Yeah, so I was gonna put him for player of the week, but I kind of wanted to do two different guys. So mine is kind of a biased pick, and that's Jazz Chisholm Jr. In the past 5 games, he's had 4 home runs and 8 RBIs, and ever since coming off of his injury, I think it was about a couple weeks ago, he's been absolutely amazing. So just kind of want to give him a shout out.
I like that. I like that pick a lot. Sorry, I'm just so distracted right now by that Damian Lillard being waived thing. I wonder where he's gonna end up because he's probably not playing this upcoming season.
No, he's
Um,
not.
That's very interesting. But yeah, I like
Yeah.
that pick for underdog. My underdog of the week is Wilyer Abreu from the Boston Red Sox. Last night he hit an inside the park home
Yeah.
run and a grand slam in the same game. He's one of only like 5 players to do that, and all those players are from like
Jeez.
the 20s and 30s and 1800s. So pretty impressive feat. So I thought that deserved being talked about.
Yeah, that's
All
crazy.
right.
Grand
Yeah,
slam and a inside the Parker.
I know it is
Wow.
a little crazy. Definitely something you don't see every day, so I thought it was worth shouting out.
No. Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and slide over to the MLB, and we're just gonna give our player of the week and our team of the week. Mason, I'll let you go ahead and begin with your player.
Yeah, so my player of the week is NL player of the week, and that is Spencer Steer. 522 batting average over the past week, and then 3 home runs and 7 RBI. So he's been playing absolutely amazing. So yeah, he's my player of the week.
Yeah, he's looked really good for Cincinnati, so I like that pick. And I'm going with the AL Player of the Week, and that was Tariq Skubal. 13 innings pitched,
Hmm.
21 strikeouts, and a 2-0 record for that week. He's just continued his phenomenal season and really putting up some of the best numbers we've seen from a starting pitcher in a long time. So, yeah, he's my Player of the Week. Um,
Hmm.
so now, who's your Team of the Week?
My team of the week is they're not going obviously they're not doing anything this year, but this stretch that they've had is the Miami Marlins. They are 8-2 in their last 10 and are on a 7 game win streak. So yeah, just kind of wanted to shout them out because they've been playing some pretty good baseball. I mean, sadly, it's not really going to matter for anything, but I guess morale it kind of helps them out. So yeah, 8-2 in the last 10 and 7 game win streak. That's pretty impressive. So they're team of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, I had them on my list. The Miami Marlins. I thought it was pretty impressive what they're doing. Obviously, they're not a very good
Hmm.
team, but it's good for the very little fans that show up for the games to be able to watch them win in baseball. But the team I ultimately picked for team of the week is just the Houston Astros. I mean, they're 50 and
Yeah.
34, and look, they lost a lot of players this last offseason. No one thought that they were going to be like what they have been for the last almost 10 years now, and they've lost no stride. They're just as good as they've been every single year. I don't know how they keep doing it, but 50 and 34, they're 7-3 in their last 10, and they're first by a pretty wide margin in their division. So I'm going with the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NBA. Obviously, some crazy stuff's been going down over the last 24 hours because free agency has started. I'm not going to sit here and list every single little move that's gone down because we'd be sitting here talking for a very long time. So, what I kind of wanted to do was I just wanted to get your opinion on what team has caught you by surprise the most. Like, what are some of your favorite moves that have happened so far in this free agency?
Yeah, so I think one that kind of caught my eye, and maybe I don't know enough about the situation, but maybe my understanding was just different. But I'm looking at the Nuggets right now. You add Cam Johnson and Bruce Brown, but you also let go of Michael Porter Jr. So I don't really know. I thought Michael Porter Jr. was pretty solid for them. I don't know if Cam Johnson or Bruce Brown are going to be better than having Michael Porter Jr. on the team because I thought he was, pretty well paired with Jokic and Jamal Murray. So I don't know. Maybe I was kind of mistaken.
So the Cam Johnson Michael Porter trade kind of confused me because they're both kind of just the same player. They're kind of like taller
Okay.
guys that can stretch the floor. Um, I guess Cam Johnson maybe has like a little more upside, but that's really just because he's been playing in Brooklyn the last couple seasons, so his numbers have been
Hmm.
inflated, obviously, playing for that team. So I don't know if he's going to be like that huge of an upgrade to Michael Porter Jr. And the Bruce Brown Bruce Brown sign-in was kind of a cool sign-in because
Mhm.
he was obviously with that team when they won the championship and then left, and now he's back. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, Michael Porter Jr. has been like a staple of that team for a while now. So it was
That's what
interesting
I
to see
thought.
him
Yeah.
go. But I mean, Cam Johnson's a good player. I just don't think it's like that huge of an upgrade to where it justifies maybe trading Michael Porter out of
Mhm.
nowhere. I don't know. It was an interesting trade though. The
Yeah.
team that has caught me by surprise, I actually have two teams. The first one is the Rockets. Look, they've gone all in after acquiring Kevin Durant. Last night they signed Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella. Those were two of the bigger names in free agency, and then they also extended Jabari Smith to the rookie max extension, so they have him locked down for a while now. I'm sure if KD's watching their free agency right now, he's pretty happy seeing them go kind of all in
Mhm.
right now. Clint Capella is going to be a huge addition. Dorian Finney-Smith's a great addition. And I know that Dorian Finney-Smith is actually someone that Kevin Durant is pretty fond of. I've seen him talk about him in podcasts multiple times. So I feel like that move was directly for Kevin Durant. I'm sure he's happy with that. And then the other team I have is the Memphis Grizzlies. They've made some interesting moves as well. There was a lot of questions on if Jaren Jackson Jr. was going to get that max contract extension, and they ended up giving it to him last night. And on top of that, they signed Ty Jerome, who's one of the Six Man of the Year finalists this last season and was a big part
Mhm.
of Cleveland's success. And then they also re-signed Santi Aldama, who was a pretty good player for them last year and is still young enough to where you can keep developing him. And then, something that wasn't talked about enough on draft night, they traded up and drafted Cedric Coward, who I thought was one of the better prospects in this draft. So I think the Grizzlies are going in the right direction, and was interested to see how active they were, especially in that first hour of free agency. They made most of their moves. So those are kind of the two teams that caught me by surprise the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So the next segment I had, um, it was kind
Mhm.
of about the Lakers and Bucks and how they weren't really doing much to start out free agency. Obviously, Giannis and LeBron have came out as like frustrated with their front offices for not making any moves, and the segment was kind of if they're seemingly upset and they don't make any moves that are in free agency, could you see potential for them being moved? Obviously, after this Miles Turner news broke, it might be different for Giannis. But what are your thoughts on LeBron and Giannis's futures with their teams?
So Giannis, I think, has a little bit more. He's probably gonna be a little bit more grounded there, just because that's a big move for the Bucks. We'll see what they kind of do at the guard position. Obviously Dame's out this whole year and just down out of the team in general now. Um, and we'll see if that's enough to get him to stay. I haven't seen him, really kind of bash in the front office or anything. He's not that kind of guy to go out of the way and be like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm not happy here and stuff like that. So I think he is going to kind of ride it out, see what the waters look like, and, play through it. But LeBron, that is a little bit more interesting to me because he did pick up his player option. And, there's so many rumors of him, saying that he wants to leave and stuff like that. And there was this one audio clip of like him at dinner saying, "Oh yeah, Savannah wants me to retire in the next year," and stuff like that. So I just really don't know. To me, it doesn't make sense to leave if you're only planning on playing one more year, especially,
Mhm.
he made it a big deal to play with his son. So to play 1 year with your son and then leave for another team and then retire after that, that doesn't really make sense to me. But if he is to leave, I'd have no idea where he wants to go because, Bleacher Report and ESPN are making all their ridiculous mock trade stuff now, which is just insane and just they're really looking for the socializing, I think, under their feed. But yeah, we'll see. I just don't think it makes sense to leave. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so up until the Miles Turner deal that just got signed with the Giannis stuff, I was very um, on the side of I thought Giannis would ask out because going into after last night, after losing Brook Lopez, the best player he had on his roster next to him is Kyle Kuzma, and as someone
Hmm.
who's he's lost like the last 3 years in the first round, I think that was probably going to be Giannis's last straw. But I think that this Miles Turner deal was a hail mary last-ditch effort to try to keep Giannis involved with this team. And if it works
Yeah.
out, great. I'm sure Giannis will stay. But if it goes wrong and you just waive Damian Lillard, who is someone that's like very good, and I know you weren't getting him this upcoming season, but he's
Right.
definitely still a big name to have on that team. I think things can go south quickly if Miles Turner doesn't perform at a $109 million level that he was given. But I do think
Mhm.
that Giannis will stay on this team for right now. I think that was a good move that the Bucks needed to make to be able to satisfy him. And then now I go over to the LeBron thing. That's a confusing one for me because
It is.
if he does want to be traded, it's kind of what you were saying. We don't know how many years he's going to want to play in the league. He's got 1 year left on his contract, so there's no guarantee for him playing for another 5 years or anything like that. And I'm not too sure a lot of teams are going to be willing to give up a lot of their assets for a guy that they might only have for literally one season. And with LeBron these days, you don't know what the interest level is. He's 41 years old now. You don't know how much he cares about going into another NBA season, and you don't know
Mhm.
if he's going to get hurt at some point. So it's a lot of risk when you're traded for a guy like LeBron at this point in his career, even though it's the greatest player to ever play the game.
Right,
But
right.
I just don't think that LeBron will be moved. I think that no team is going to really want to push all their chips in for 1 year of him. Um, Unless it comes out that he's willing to sign an extension with whatever team he gets traded to, I don't see a lot of teams chomping at the bit to make a move for him. And I could just see him if he's really unhappy with this Lakers team and he really wants to just retire after this year, just play out the year with them and call it quits. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that's how I see it anyway. So I don't see a LeBron or Giannis trade happening anytime soon.
Yeah. It's just interesting because it's not like LeBron's on like a vet minimum either. He's on he's
Right.
on he's got a pretty good contract coming with him. So whoever's willing to pick that up would have to eat that and have the risk of him retiring within a year. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and slide over to the NFL because there's a pretty big move that happened yesterday and today, apparently. The Dolphins have been pretty active, it seems, because we all knew Jalen Ramsey was going to get traded at some point. He requested a trade, all of that. And then we started seeing stuff about Jonnu Smith potentially being traded. They both got packaged in a trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in return, the Dolphins have gotten back Minka Fitzpatrick, and then they did a late pick swap. What are your thoughts on this trade? Because I have a few, so I was wanting to know what yours are.
I'll tell you what, I think the Dolphins got away with a lot out of getting just a little bit, if that makes sense, because you let go of an aging cornerback who obviously and very well had a big step off, a big drop off between his other years from last year. And he's going to be turning 31 in October. So that's, pretty up there in age for a position that, you really want some youth at. And Jonnu Smith had a great season, don't get me wrong, but the tight end is a quarterback's best friend, especially when there's going through a whole bunch of quarterback changes like there was last year with the Miami Dolphins. So, of course, Jonnu Smith's going to get the ball a lot this year with Tua hopefully being healthy and able to play the whole year. You know how he likes to do it. He likes to push the ball down to Waddle and Tyreek. That's saying if Tyreek is still on the team. I don't see much of him kind of leaving as of now. But that's kind of my thoughts as far as the Dolphins side. But on the Steelers side, that's where you really kind of want to take a look at things because there's a lot of aging guys in important positions on that Steelers team. You look at the quarterback, you have a 41 or something year old Aaron Rodgers who said, quite frankly, this is probably going to be his last year before retirement. And then you have on the defensive side, you got an old Darius Slay at corner, and then you have another corner at Jalen Ramsey, who's old as well, 30, turning 31 soon. So you take a look at these guys, and you're like, man, what are they going to look like in 2, 3 years where youth hasn't been a huge, you know, staple point in their offense or defense? Just, it's very interesting. So, yeah, those are kind of my overall thoughts on it.
Yeah. So as a Dolphins fan, when I saw that Jay-Z was most likely getting traded, I was kind of preparing myself to just lose him for nothing. I fully was expecting like a fourth or fifth round pick and like a pick
Hmm.
swap probably for him because he is getting older. And if he doesn't want to be there, we kind of have no leverage whatsoever in a trade. So to see that we packaged Tim and Jonnu for a guy like Minka, who was on this team before and has played some very good football, especially this last season. He's had a great season last season. To
Hmm.
see him come and return in the deal, I think that Dolphins fans should be very excited about that because we could have easily gotten no one back in this trade. So the fact that we got a guy like Minka definitely helped losing Ramsey a lot. I'm not saying that Mink is better than Ramsey, but numbers do kind of prove he had the
I
better
would.
season last year. Yeah, I mean the
I'd
numbers
say
don't
he was.
lie. So
Yeah.
um, I think that's a great move for the Dolphins. I was upset seeing Jonnu Smith go. He was probably our best player on
Yeah.
offense, to be completely honest, last season. But like you said, I feel like a lot of that was the backup quarterbacks not being able to get the ball to Hill or Waddle, so they're kind of force feeding Jonnu a little bit. And I did want him back, but he's making 12 million a year
Hmm.
now, and I just don't know if that's the price point the Dolphins wanted to give to a guy like that. So I think it's best for both parties to move on in that situation. I think he'll, have a decent shot to, perform well in Pittsburgh, but I don't think the Dolphins were ever going to give $12 million to an aging tight end. So I thought it was a good move for, both sides. Like you said, Pittsburgh does have an older team, but they still got some talent on their team. Even though
They
they're
do.
old, they're talented players, so it could work out for them. It's definitely like kind of a win now type of team, and I just don't know if they are are there yet for winning now. I don't see the vision there, but they definitely are kind of all in as far as getting the age and talent. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And then, yeah, the biggest question after this trade was what are the Dolphins going to do at the tight end position? And like you said, there was just some breaking news. Tight end Darren Waller is coming out of retirement to go play with the Miami Dolphins. Um, I personally don't know if I like this move. The guy
Good
seems like a
luck, buddy.
problem on and off the field. And I really hope this isn't like our only tight end that we're going for because I would much rather prefer like a Michael Mayer kind of guy from the Las Vegas Raiders. This is very interesting. Mason, what are your thoughts on the Darren Waller situation?
Well, obviously I've had to deal with this guy myself. Um, he when we first got him, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and he was coming off of a great season with the Raiders, or just a great, I guess, stint with the Raiders because he was going through some pretty big injuries on his last season or two there. But he was easily one of the best tight ends in the league as far as receiving wise. So for the Giants to get a guy like that, I was very excited. And then he was more worried about his music and stuff rather than playing football, and he was going through all that stuff with I don't even remember that WNBA player's name. Um, but like I don't know, it seemed like everything was more focused off the field, and I don't know if it's gonna change much. Him coming out of retirement, having another year off, so I don't know. We'll see. All I gotta say is good luck, and hopefully this is not your only um option. So yeah.
Yeah, I really hope not because I was seeing some Cole Chmet news. I was seeing even Kyle Pitt's name get brought up, and to go from that to Darren Waller, that's a little frustrating to hear. So I'm definitely hoping that that's not the only move. Um, Oh wow. Okay, so another breaking news on the Milwaukee Bucks. It has just come out that Giannis is not pleased with the team's decision to waive Damian Lillard. So
Wow, that was fast.
yeah, so maybe there will be a Giannis trade in the future. I have no idea. I'm sure that'll break after we're done recording. Because that's how it goes.
Probably.
This has been a very eventful breaking news morning. And we're gonna slide into the last topic, which is UFC. Ilya Taporia fought against Charles Oliveira this last weekend and had another signature first round knockout against the future Hall of Famer and Charles Oliveira. It's kind of leaving fans with the question: is Ilia Topuria the best pound for pound fighter in the UFC right now? Mason, I'll let you go ahead and answer that question.
So right now in my eyes, there's a 1A and 1B, and those both are Ilya and Islam. I want to say like the only thing that I'd need to see more of is like time of Ilya, but when you go and knock out three of the best, you know, fighters in their respective divisions, cold, nothing past the second round, it's like, you can't really question it. Um because you want to see more of it, but then it's like how much more do you like want to see as far as what he's already done? Um I think, man, I don't know if I'm gonna, because it's hard to just say yes and it's hard to say no because there's so many factors. Because Islam, we've obviously seen he's insane and he's you know been doing his thing, but Ilya, he's been doing the exact same thing. So um, I wouldn't go as far as say number one pound for pound yet. Maybe in another fight, one more fight, I'll say yeah. But it's just it's right there for me. It's right there. So yeah, he's definitely been very exciting to watch, and yeah, it's finally good to see a guy that we both are interested in kind of winning. So yeah.
To me, there's no question. I think Ilia Topuria is the pound for pound best fighter. His last three fights have been nothing short of
I know.
incredible. Knocks out Alexander Volkanovski, who's considered one of the goats in that class. Goes and fights Max Holloway, who's the BMF at the time, and handles him pretty well. And goes against Charles Oliveira last night and moves up a weight class for the first time,
Mhm.
and absolutely hits him with a crazy right hand and sleeps him in the first round. I think there's no question. I think he's the most exciting fighter in the sport right now, and I think he's the best. We haven't really seen him do too much with his ground game or anything like that, but he
Mhm.
did get out of that early submission attempt by Oliveira, who's one of the best submission artists in UFC. So I thought that was kind of telling that he can handle his own when it comes to that. And I get Islam and Tom Aspinall. I get those guys are very talented as well. But just going off of the last few fights, I don't think anyone's been more impressive than him. So at this time, I think that
Mhm.
pound for pound, Ilia Topuria is the best.
Yeah. I'd love to see. I don't know who else he'd be able to like fight that'd be a close match other than Islam. And
Yeah,
Islam,
we got to speak
as
into
we know,
Islam.
Islam moved up a weight class as soon as Ilya joined that, division. So
Hmm.
it's like, man, is he running? I don't know. I don't know if I was go as far as say that, but I'd love to see it. I think that's the fight kind of everyone wants. Everyone wanted to see the Aspinall John Jones thing, but obviously that's not going to happen ever. But we don't know if this can happen, and I think that the next fight would be Ilya Paddy. I know Dana wasn't too thrilled that Paddy got in the cage at the end of the fight. Um, so yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I would love to see that Taporia versus Islam fight, but we'll see what
Hmm.
happens. All right, wow. So that was a lot of news happening today, and that's going to pretty much wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason. Sign off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you guys.